So on that kind of approach, so someone goes into freelancing, what are kind of the things to watch out for in terms of, so you mentioned contracts. Contracts is definitely a thing. I've never worked without a contract except for one time very recently where a friend came to me and they were like, oh, my friend has a project. He wants us both to work on it. He's a good guy. You know, this is what they're going to pay you. Just invoice him. It's going to get paid and it's fine. And then we worked for them. We worked for this guy for the client that he has for 2 months, something like that. So we're invoicing him, you know, once a week and nothing's coming back. And then he doesn't know what's happening. And then he speaks to the client and the client's like, oh yeah, we've decided we're not going to pay you until the job's finished. And we only have this much money left to pay you, which is less than what we've already invoiced him. So highly recommend, definitely have a contract. But aside from that, what are the other kind of things to watch out for or things that they might not be familiar with coming from an employment background? Because you mentioned like essentially contracting is a business. So when you're an employer, or when you're an employee, I should say, you work for a business. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Money ends up in your bank account, you do the work, and then there's a whole bunch more on top. So is there any other kind of pitfalls or things that you would recommend people look out for?
Well, one of the big ones is you got to make sure when I'll just put it simply, you've got to save money for taxes. That's a humongous one that this bites everybody initially. Yeah. Because I'm just going to use round numbers here. So let's say that you get paid $10,000 from a client. They send you a $10,000 check. You get that check, you're like, yes, this is amazing. Yeah. Or more. Maybe you get 20,000. I don't know, whatever it is. But it's a lot of money. And, you know, compared to what your regular paycheck is. And you put that in your bank account. Now you're like, I got 10 grand to do whatever. No, you don't. You've got like maybe 40% of that. I mean, 60% of it depends on what country you're in, but really it's, you know, take 30 to 40% as taxes. You've got to learn to just take that, maybe get another business savings account, whatever, and move it over there, which I did bring up business account we'll talk about. You got to get it out of there because you can't look at it as your money because when it comes tax time, and I've been bitten by this a few times. I mean, I've gotten a tax bill that was almost $100,000 once. That like made me second guess all my choices in life. When that tax bill comes around, and you're just like, "What? How much do I owe?" And then you look at how much you made. You're like, "Oh my god! Like okay, this is my fault. I didn't save properly. Okay, I got to get myself out of this hole." So that's going to be the number one thing. The second thing is you have to make sure that you're planning accordingly for, you know, you're billing the right amount. If you're not billing high enough, you're not going to make it. And a lot of things that people do wrong is they take what they're making at an hourly, they don't even know hourly. They'll say, hey, I'm getting paid $100,000 a year as a developer. They'll divide that by 2,080, which will basically give you how many your hourly rate that you make at your full-time job, and say, look, if I make that or more, I'm going to live the same life. No. That's not true because the employer actually pays for part of your taxes that you'll be responsible for. They pay a humongous part of your, I mean, I'd probably say in the United States, 75 to 80, maybe 90% of your health insurance costs. Dental, all of your other benefits. So you need to build that in there. And so actually in one of the chapters of that book that I have, which is the Freelancing Tactics, I talk about how to calculate the your rate. Now it does come out a little high and you might need to start a little lower. That's fine. But when I explain why you need all those things, it's very important because if you don't, you just simply won't make it. It'll feel like you're going to make it, but 3-6 months, a year in, you're like, I'm not making enough. I don't know why I should be making enough. It's because there's a bunch of hidden costs you don't really know about. Then the next one is you need to live under your means. I have a friend of mine who got me into freelancing and consulting. This guy was a wizard at this. He could live off of nothing. And he just stacked all of his money, and he's doing very, very well right now. And he'll probably be retired in a couple of years, and he's early 40s. And he did it from consulting and freelancing. But it's because he lived well under his means and saved all his money and invested properly. He didn't live all the way up to how much he was making. There's other insurance things you have to take into play as well, but those are going to probably be the big ones.
I would agree with both of those. Taxes is definitely something people don't think about. I kind of forget to mention that because I've been doing it for so long that it's just normal for me. Like at the end of the year, X amount of money goes into this pot, and that's my tax money pot, and I don't have to worry about it. But I know that a lot of people forget that one. And then live into your means. But for me, it's also the same thing. I literally have a spreadsheet. It's like, this is how much money I need to live every month, and this is the total that I need in a year, and then everything over that is just gravy.